the second thing I wanted to say, well, how funny would it be if in a week Jellyroll comes out and says loudly, proudly, and clearly 14 should be the age of consent, and that's the only politics he wants to get involved in.
They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
My brother-in-law owns a big winch but hasn't mounted it yet.
Right.
So, there's issues like that. My dad used to have a winch on his Jeep, but he doesn't have them on any of his current vehicles. So, I mean, it's like everyone at least knows about them.
Everyone in my high school, well, not everyone in my high school, but especially if you had a Jeep or something like that, they would always get winches, yet not only would they never use them, they never even attempted to put themselves in a situation where they would have to use them. And it seemed like what a wild just accessory to have. What a very expensive accessory to have.
Yeah, the Carhartt jacket of trucks.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and I used to own an old busted rank Cherokee, and I would go 4x4. And a lot of people would have a winch that was really small. And they would be like, well, if I get stuck, I'll put this around a tree and get myself out, which is true. Right. But you can do nothing else with those small ones. You cannot pull someone else out.
Right.
But the dude who rocked up, refurbishes Toyotas, was genuinely thrilled and had a very, very badass winch that he personally welded into his car and a custom weld at his shop. I mean, this was like, he'd moved to Knoxville, and I don't think that accent was Southern, but he was an old boy. Shout out Jake.
Yeah, he got winched out.
Well, I got winched from off the bank, you know, and it was, and the picture I sent didn't really do it justice. Everybody who saw the picture was like, oh, we'll get that out. And then they saw it and they were like, we got to have a winch. We can't get that out. It's crazy. It like got hung on a root or it would have flipped into the ditch.
Yeah. No, frill-necked dinosaurs showed up to spit in your face, did they?
No.
Okay.
Excellent reference. Took me a minute.
Yeah. Dennis Nedry, he's winching his Jeep out of a situation when he gets spit in the face.
And he's dragging it. You got to keep tension on him and all that.
Eating. Yeah.
Speaking of Jurassic Park.
Iconic moment.
Just because this is semi-organic, I just watched the show Untamed, which is that Eric Bana joint on Netflix.
Yeah, where he's like a park ranger.
Yeah, he's a park ranger.
Me and Katie watched that. I'd already completely forgotten that we'd ever even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just so many different goddamn things now that things just come and go, bro.
Yeah, and it was
pretty good. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it was definitely pretty good, but it's not like, oh my God, I do recommend watching it. Like, it's good, but it's not like, when I watched Department Q, like I went around, recommended that to everybody. It knocked my dick in the dirt. It was awesome. But Untamed is good. And I love Eric Bana, but Sam, and you might remember this or you might not, but Sam Neill's in it. And Sam Neill has apparently gotten to the point in his career where he's just like, yeah, I mean, look, my American accent's just also going to sound Scottish, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there were moments where it was like he wasn't even trying. And I was like, but I enjoy him so much. But like, it wasn't that he didn't sound Scottish or whatever. He just didn't sound like any American ever. There's no accent. Whatever it was he was trying to do, that one doesn't exist. And it was hilarious to me.
It's weird how there's people who, I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on as an American what makes like a bad generic American accent, but you can't not hear it. Like if someone's doing a bad generic American accent, you're gonna be like, this person's not really American. But even if you can't
it's kind of uncanny valley, right?
It is.
I don't know what to say is wrong, but it's wrong.
Right. Like, even if someone's doing a bad Midwestern or a bad Southerner, I at least know what they're going for. But with him, I don't even know what area he was going for. No idea.
You watch Silo?
Yep.
Jorah Mormont is in Silo, and he's
Yeah.
American in that, and he sounds weird. And I love that guy. I mean, he does a great, fine job as an actor.
Yeah, he's
but like, he
great.
just sounds weird to me the whole
Ian
time.
Glenn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Remember Vikings? Bjorn.
Jorgen Florgen.
Yeah,
Bjorn Florgen. Yeah.
Yep.
the guy who played Ragnar's main son, not the evil one, but the blonde one, who's now trying to be a country star. Do you know about that?
I don't.
Actually,
at
I
any
only
rate-
watched like part of the first season of Vikings. Didn't not like it. I just, whatever reason, didn't stick with it.
Oh, it fucking ruled. It got a little weird at the end, but like the 2, 3, 4 seasons were badass. Anyway, I thought it was very interesting because that dude, it was like a British show ostensibly. That dude is a Viking. I don't remember where he's from, but he was pretending to have a British accent while playing a Viking.
Right. Well, there's this German dude, Alexander Dreymon, who's a German actor, and he is the protagonist of the show The Last Kingdom. And the character he plays,
I know this one. That's what I was gonna bring up next.
The character he plays is like half Viking, half Saxon. He's like a Viking raised by Saxons or whatever. And that guy, who's a German actor, he does this. He clearly like made up his own accent. That's like a combination of British and Viking shit. And in my opinion, I like it a lot.
Nails
like
it,
I can tell that's what he's doing, and I feel like he, pretty much nails it. And and I don't even know what he sounds like in real life. Probably all Germany, I would imagine.
Pretty Germany. I've looked it up because I was also very intrigued with what he had going on. Did I freeze?
No. I thought there was more to that.
There was, but then you both were looking at me like,
that's just my face. I always look.
Well, then I looked up like him talking, in other English, like that is the only time he sounded like that. And he would do the tagline, "Destiny is old."
Destiny.
And it was
old.
like, what is that? It almost sounded South African. I think that's why I kind of looked it up. I was like, this is Afrikaner. And it kind of makes sense. And I often wondered, was he kind of copying them? Because that is Dutch people who learned English in Africa from British people.
Right. Yeah,
2 generations ago. It's actually their grandkids.
Yeah, Vickers van der Werve is who I always think of, the protagonist of District 9.
Yes.
All-time sci-fi movie. That guy's wild. Neil Blomkamp, also South African, and came out the gate with District 9, which is just absolute fire. And then never really got back there. It's wild how that can happen. The probably most prominent example is M. Night Shyamalan, who had multiple, like he came out the gate like swinging at a real high level, and then is that just like you can't follow up your own hype or something? You know what I mean?
Maybe. I mean, it also might be like you got so many good ideas. Sometimes I think it's like when somebody has a great album, their first album, and I'm like, damn, I wish you'd have had 3 bangers instead of 7, because I bet the next one sucks, and it does. I mean, like, I don't want to disparage it because it is a good album, but there's no bangers on Jid's album. I mean, it was just up for a Grammy. It's very
Jid. It's not JID.
It's either, but it's Jid.
Okay.
But I mean, it was up for a Grammy. It's a great album, but everyone who likes him is like, yeah, the first one was way better.
Speaking of the Grammys, Drew, did you see your boy's shining moment?
I was about to bring this up.
Which boy?
I just want to hear Drew's response. Jellyroll, of course.
Oh, buddy. I think I texted y'all. Can we bet on what Jellyroll's big announcement, which way it's going to go on Kalshi or one of those stupid websites that are proof that we are descending faster than we want to admit in a dystopian nightmare? And if so, I should be able to get odds at the time I called it.
Right.
Because he's about to go full MAGA, in my opinion. I mean, he's going to try to thread the needle, but like...
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. Obviously, it's never mind. I was going to say, I don't know why you do that if you're like a mainstream successful artist. Like, The Rock is probably never going to be overtly political in either direction. But Jellyroll, I mean, fucking The Rock is obviously a tier above Jellyroll. You look at but then I thought about, obviously, in our field, like Joe Rogan and all the biggest comic, no one's bigger, and they're all, firmly right wing.
Well,
so I
all
guess
those
it
things
doesn't
are related.
hurt your career, or obviously it doesn't hurt your career. But what I'm saying is, it was always like conventional wisdom. If you're mainstream successful, you play it down the middle, or else you'll lose people either direction you go. But in thinking about it, I guess with the fact that there's no monoculture or anything anymore, that's not really necessarily the case.
Well, yeah, what I was going to say is I think at this point in his career, the rooms he's trying to get in, like, he's always going to be the sideshow on The Voice.
Yeah.
He's like, and so it's a choice. It's like you can keep trying to go up from there as the aging former rapper turned with the or you can just like be like, I think I've tapped this out. And in comedy, the analogy would be Andrew Schultz or Joe Rogan, maybe better when it's like, they're never going to let you host the Grammys, dude.
Right.
So leaning in is the only way to grow, like new fans or whatever. You're going to lose some, but you're going to gain some. But you're also just analyzing it from a strictly like, I don't know, the industry point of view.
Career perspective,
also,
yeah.
Well, I'm still going to stick career, but like, I do think this will eventually move him into irrelevancy, but he's going to make a shit ton of money.
My thing on it is,
so like,
the way that he positioned it when he said it, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but I'll paraphrase a little bit. He's like, he tried to do the all shucks thing, and far be it from me.
That's his whole thing now. It's like all shucks, but you can only do that so much.
Exactly. And that's my point, is like, as someone who, like, I do all shucks on stage when I'm trying to get away with having said something, and like, it is a cheat, it's a whatever, and I understand that, but to sit there and say like, guys, I don't even really follow politics. Like, in my home, it wasn't this and this. And it's like, hey, we remember 7 months ago when you testified in front of Congress, and it seemed very much like you knew what was going on. And so what it seems like is you're all shucks, I don't pay attention to politics, unless it's something that affects you personally, in which case you will stand up and you will sound very articulate and you will not care how many fans you lose. Now, another thing that strikes me is he goes, oh, I don't know anything about politics. It's hard for me to say one side or the other, but I promise you, in a couple days, I will make my voice loud and clear, right? In other words, I'm going to talk about it. Right now, I don't know anything, but somehow in 3 days I will, which to me just is out loud saying, once my PR team writes me this thing that I'm going to say, I'll say it, but now is not the time. And I'm with you. Like, it feels like he's about to go just completely full MAGA, because right now just doesn't, with the particular ICE stuff, it seems like, I mean, even Republicans are looking at it going, guys, this is bad. This is not a thing to sit on the fence about.
I just don't. I still go back to all the comedy discussion aside, because comedy's always been like low man on the totem pole in terms of entertainment, and like,
Moms.
The hittingest comedian is not anywhere close to the biggest music stars or actors or anything, and never has been. But so like, I still think in music, because you think about like, Mark sent yesterday the lineup for the Turning Point USA Real American Super Bowl halftime show, right? It's the show they put together in protest of Bad Bunny doing the Super Bowl halftime show. This is like, if you're a patriot, watch this instead. And it's Kid Rock, who is, without a doubt, Kid Rock is the biggest name they have in music, who's like full-blown MAGA. And then it's like Brantley Gilbert and fucking Lee Bryce and some chick, Gabby something other. And like,
Lee Bryce has got to be the most fucking centrist name I've ever heard in my fucking life.
But what I'm saying is,
can we also talk about the way Trae delivered that is exactly how they pitched it when they created this. Kid Rock, fucking Brantley Gilbert, Lee Bryce, and some
chick. Yeah, we'll find a chick somewhere. But like, that's the best they can put together, right? In actual MAGA world. And like, dude, those guys nobody takes Kid Rock seriously outside of fucking the MAGAs. I know that he still does plenty big enough shows and stuff, but like, it ain't the same. It's not the same as fucking red carpet at the Grammys and, fucking headlining new Netflix shows and doing all the, you know what I mean? I still feel like if you're in that space, going full blown MAGA is like, I I think it's still bad. Like, even though that is a grift, I don't think it's a grift if you've already broken through to
It's
the
only
level
good
that he
to do
has.
if you don't otherwise
it'll
hit.
hurt you. Exactly.
Yeah,
If you don't otherwise hit, it can make you hit for them, which is
which is
millions
enough.
and millions of dollars, which is enough.
Yeah.
But if you do hit, I think it hurts you still.
I agree.
So, like, I don't
eat
know
my
why
words.
he'd do that.
I hope I eat my words. He definitely got him some Democrat teeth, and if the size up is Republican. I hope I eat my words genuinely, because like Corey was talking about when he went in front of Congress, we lauded him. I know I did, and
it was great.
It was. I mean, it was like, hey, that's an interesting and kind thing you seem to be doing,
and thank you for using your platform for it.
Right, but to me, it's like the writing's on the wall. He's going to try to thread the needle. He's going to try to he's not going to go like full blown. To Trey's point, I don't think he's going to be hateful the way Kid Rock is. I think he's going to try to be like a bridge. I mean, think about everything you just said, but imagine you were trying to pitch the opposite to him or his manager or whoever. What you'd be saying is, look at what these idiots, how much money and fandom they're getting, and they ain't got half the appeal as you, brother. You're the bridge. Look how many people were upset Charlie Kirk died. You're the bridge. These people have convinced them. Dude, there are many people I know around here who pretend to have known what Charlie Kirk was about before he died, probably didn't, who like genuinely think he was this very reasonable,
right,
debate me, calm guy.
Right.
Like they act like he didn't often pine for the death of his enemies. And I just feel like that's like he's going to try to actually be that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a ton of people lately that I've seen online, like these Walter Matterson people. I know I just got his name wrong, but he does good work.
I think you got his name right.
No, is it Masterson or
yeah, whatever. We all know that guy. He does really good work. Where he's been going up to people and like he's not like wearing a MAGA hat and like red, white, and blue, but like he's very much just seeming like he's a regular journalist that doesn't have any type of bias. And he's just reading people quotes that Charlie Kirk actually said.
Right. Yeah.
And it's blowing they're like, guess who said that? And they'll say somebody else, and they're like, that's actually Charlie Kirk. And they're like, oh, well, you must be taking that out of context. And he's like, okay, well, here, let me give you the full context. And they're like, yeah, well, what are you going to do? And like, no, most of these people didn't know. They just like, they've seen the propaganda of like, dude, I swear to God, dude, if I see one more Charlie Kirk right next to Martin Luther King Jr. meme, I'm going to fucking lose my goddamn mind. Like it's unbelievable. And then those same people who they won't hold Charlie Kirk accountable for all the terrible things he said, but then they'll look at Martin Luther King and go, yeah, well, he cheated on his wife, so therefore everything he said is null and void.
I was just about to say, shout out to Erica Kirk, though, because she's doing the Lord's work over there and making it, harder to
people hate her.
Deify the whole thing. I'm saying, fucking, he's on such a pedestal and such an angel and everything that, they want her to be like fucking Coretta Scott.
Yeah.
And she's just not having that because she can't stop fucking popping bottles and all this shit that I don't know. I've really enjoyed Erica Kirk getting her groove back. I don't know about everybody else.
It's not.
I mean, I enjoyed how many people turned on her too. As far as our boy, the Roll, I know that this is brought up because I said what I said and it made Paige mad, and that was so funny. So all those years ago, but the truth is, and I'm not disparaging you guys for bringing it up, I'm also have really, really intense Jellyroll fatigue. Am I the only one who's like, this dude is a fat rapper who sings country music now? We've already got Post Malone, who he's going on tour with, by the way. Why do I give a fuck?
Well, he's actually, what's funny? He's sort of played both angles that you can play as a fat white redneck. Whereas when he first started popping, I feel like the left was like, look at this guy. He's from the South. He's damaged, but he's a kind soul who's talking about rehab and stuff like that. We can use him. That's really great. We love a good white guy from the South. And now he's going to do the complete fucking opposite, which is, hey,
he's not going to do the opposite, in my opinion.
Okay.
going to act like he's going to be. He's going to couch this as like it's our time to come together. But it is definitely going to be under the umbrella or with the foundation of like, this is what Charlie would have wanted, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, he's not going to go full Kid Rock. He won't be hateful or any of that, but he will be like now is the time. This is what I've said I was getting ready to say. We've all got to get past this, but it's going to be a nothing burger, and it's going to be very, very coated with a lot of right-wing stuff, and completely backed, by the way, by – and this is what I really think is going on. I think he's working with Shapiro. What's the Nashville Shapiro's media company?
Daily Wire, right?
Daily Wire.
Daily Wire has an event in Nashville called Freedom America or some shit. I think he's either gonna speak at that or he's gonna get with like the Candace side. I don't know if you guys have been following the right wing. There's been a big split with the online landscape over Charlie.
Oh
right?
yeah, it's been awesome.
I think he's just gonna try to play the sort of like aw shucks thing, but aw shucks, we should all go to church.
I was about to say, you just now brought up. I was going to say, well, we ain't even talked about like the Jesus part of it all because that's his like entree. That's like what he's really doing, right? So far, I mean, the bulk of that acceptance speech was just him very fervently praising the Lord. I don't know if it's because just how much I just don't care for the Lord or what, but like, dude. People always seem borderline psychotic to me when they get like I'm really put off by it. Like it makes my skin crawl. Like when people get super into the Lord in public, and I can't put my finger on why. Like I said, maybe it's just my own personal biases, but
well, it gives you a built-in. It gives you a built-in sort of get out of jail card sometimes. Like no matter if they do something horrible, they can always be like, I know the Lord will forgive me, or that's just my journey or whatever. And like, as you know, like most of the time I'm pretty sure that Jellyroll's been about the Lord for a while, but if you see someone, a celebrity all of a sudden get super Lordy, Russell Brand, it's kind of like something's about to happen. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, like with him though, it's like, the rehab thing, the addiction thing, whatever, a lot of people end up in the Lord's arms through that.
And then they relapse.
But so I don't fucking
know.
The reason I brought it up to you and called him your boy and stuff is not because like you called it.
Yeah.
Like a while back on this show, like you said, you were like, I'm telling y'all right now, a turn is coming. And at the time I was like, hell, everybody likes Jellyroll, don't they? I said
the same thing.
And you were like, yeah, for now. So I'm just sort of giving you your credit, because you saw it coming.
Well,
and what I was about to say relates to that. And thank you. You're a country music singer now. That's what you do. And let's stop talking about him like he's a product. Let's say all this is at least 80% real. You know what I mean? And I say 80% not to disparage him, but to be like, if you're an entertainer, you are going to go put on a show. I mean, Trae has sleeves on right now. Like, I'm not trying to call him fake. I'm saying, let's say that everything he does is 80% comes from this place of like who I am, who I want to be as an artist. Country music, genuinely into Jesus now, loves stand-up comedy, and his friends are Andrew Schultz and Joe Rogan.
Right.
At giving him the biggest benefit of the doubt, he would try to get them to like, let's say it was about ICE, see that what is going on doesn't actually line up with their supposed views on small government. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like that's his home. I mean, it's like the opposite of how we kind of grew up. I guess me and Corey of like, damn, we don't fit in here. For him, it's like he's found the place. He almost has to be right-wing, dog. And to some extent, this is an insult to the Democratic Party. The fucking ex-porn star girlfriend having Jesus-y country music singer ain't going to be welcomed by the Democratic Party unless they lead with, by the way, Jesus loved gays.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, and again, it's not enough to just think that. You have to like lead with it for that to even be something interesting to, when I say the Democratic Party, I mean the powers that be, the people who pay your bills, to enter into that machine. He's entering into the Nashville machine. The Nashville machine wouldn't know what to do with him if he weren't at the very least interested in having a conversation with the right wing.
Well, and I think that's what makes him so attractive to the Daily Wire, because I think they're looking at this from the perspective of every single person that works for the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, Candace, all those people, like by their entire, this is intentional. Their entire concept is to be combative and to to say things that are going to get clicks and rile people up or whatever. And a lot of people, even that agree with them fundamentally, are like, I'm so tired of this. He said, us against them, blah, blah, blah. So they look at a Jellyroll who can, like, under the surface have their same beliefs and spit out their same talking points, except for coming from a place of love and understanding and trying to have a conversation and stuff. And they kind of need that for their brand to be like, oh, well, if Jellyroll can see it both ways, then it's fine, because he's not on here just trying to get clicks and just trying to start arguments and ending everything with prove me wrong. You know what I mean?
That is literally what I think is about to happen.
Yeah.
And I will say this, if he is surrounded by the right people and super, super duper smart, he might pull it off in a way that people like us kind of respect.
Right.
But that would be genuinely impressive for anyone to do that, to enter into that world, to be doing events. That's my prediction. I think he's going to do that Daily Wire event.
Right.
Like the timing lines up. He's going to announce it in the biggest, clearest, loudest voice he ever had. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. What was I going to say? Oh, but just, to be around that and do it that way would be to genuinely. Now, to make them perceive you as that would be pretty simple, and it'd make you a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen like clips on social media. He's one of the hosts of the new Star Search, right, on Netflix.
Yeah. And again, because of that, and what you were talking about, Trae, of like, damn, is he really going to go work for Kid Rock? I think this is going to be a very, like, let's all come together thing, but it is going to be coming from someone on the right side. And by the way, if that's sincere and he pulls it off well, it might be, I'm not going to call it good, because I don't want everyone believing that, like, you need to listen to God first, because that, like, gets rid of abortion. You know what I mean? There's, like, I have non-starter policies that I just can't, like, change. But it would be nice if the right kind of did take that turn into sweetness. It won't work. He will not succeed in that. But if he means it, that is sweet of him.
Well, again, I haven't watched any of it, but I've seen people like on Reddit and on the internet and stuff say that on there too, he very often turns it into like almost a full blown like sermon situation. He gets really Jesus-y like on that show too.
He could be a great preacher.
That's another thing that's first of all, by the way, and I'm not saying they straight up. I know that the producers of that show, I'm not going to say they straight up asked me to be on it. They asked me if I would be interested in being on it. And I said no. And I'm glad that I didn't now, especially because I don't want to be like ripped apart by Jellyroll on Netflix or whatever, because there's no way I would hit for him.
He would only rip you apart to see if there was nougat on the inside.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's another thing that I find surprising. I feel like for a long time, Netflix producers and people like that would have been like, hey, bro, love you, but like, can you chill with some of the Jesus stuff?
But then they finally realized how much money they could make by not doing that. I don't know why it took him that long, but like, dude, they finally gave Leon Morgan has deserved a show for 15 goddamn years.
Yep.
They're just now figuring it out. I heard someone say this. I think it was the Trillbillies. Hey, we're canceling Roseanne. That's fine, but y'all do understand she gets replaced by another 10 years of Cops.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is money to be made by doing programming for people who are interested in that. Dude, fucking, what's Ashton Kutcher's show, The Ranch?
Yeah.
It was like in the top 5 on Netflix every year it was out.
Yeah.
They just figured out that enough people in America do want that.
Well, Landman, the whole Taylor Sheridan sphere. And by the way, they're kind of different because like, I'd be fucking with them.
Porn is what that is, brother.
It is libertarian porn. Yeah. But like it's still good. Like it's, like The Ranch to me was unwatchable. But Landman's not unwatchable, but you're right that they have figured that out. And like, also there's been a huge boom in like what I call airport library book shows. You know what I mean? Like just they figured out like John Grisham, he's very middle of the road, but like he's got it figured out, these procedures or whatever.
I think that Mark said this in the thread the other day, or we were talking about it in there, but with that, I think it's like they realized that like fucking middle-aged and up married couples who just, sit on the couch and watch shit after the kids go to bed. Like those shows, because you're talking about like that, it's all her fault or whatever it's called, and The Beast in Me and the new John Bernthal one and fucking Untamed to an extent, all these like murder shows with like they realize that like couples can watch that. There's like shit in it for like the dudes, but also the girl. Yeah, right. And that's the appeal of those. So they're just fucking pumping those out. And like the super elevated versions of that, like David Fincher's Gone Girl, which was from a, like an airport book, right?
Just gas.
I'm saying straight gas. So you can like that shit can go hard. I mean, me and Katie watch a bunch of those, but yeah, they realized the formula there for sure. I think both the authors first and then
for sure.
TV producers later.
And I just think that what this is them like calling their shot. Them meaning him and his camp. And I think there's probably some sincerity to it. Like I said, if you do believe in Jesus and you're singing country music, your home is going to be among some right-wing people. Did you see when he went on Theo? There's a guy who's done it. I mean, that's if you want an analogy, he's going to try to be Theo. It is very obvious that Theo is right wing.
But what, like sweet, like it's not your fault, Theo? Do you know what I mean? Like Theo's like a fucking insane rat king, hilarious dirtbag guy who I know is also like he's, I'm just listening, I'm sweet, I'm folksy, and all this stuff. I know that.
Undeniably hilarious,
right? That's what I'm saying. But Theo is like
sure
entertaining.
He's undeniably talented as an artist.
Jellyroll, as a musician,
went on Theo, and Theo's like, you cry a lot. Murdered me,
right? Yeah. Well, but I'm saying Jellyroll. I don't see him having it like that as a talker and interviewer and stuff.
And you might be right, but like
special talent in my.
But opinion. I'm not talking. Yes. But that's because Theo's medium is podcast. Jellyroll's medium is 90-second clips of him crying in front of Congress, right? Or telling people to believe in themselves.
That's true. He needs to be in doses.
And medium is. And speaking of medium and doses, that's the size he almost is now. He's on Ozempic, but I think his medium is those 90-second speeches or whatever, and his songs. You know what I mean? Like. That are basically like if a gas station bathroom learned how to do auto-tune. Mm-hmm. I did not mean to be so insulting. I really promise because we know some of people in his camp. But I just think that, honestly, now that we've talked it out, he's just trying to be the space. I don't mean he's trying to be Theo. Whatever space that is that Theo – dude, I got hardcore leftist Free Palestine friends sending me Theo clips. Theo has super broad appeal. I love Theo. While having Trump on.
I love Theo too.
Right, while having Trump on. Yeah. While saying you should vote for Trump. That is exactly what Jellyroll's about to try to do.
That's the difference.
Try to be that.
The difference between Theo and don't get me wrong, I don't agree with Theo having Trump on. I don't agree with him sidling up to all those dudes. I don't agree with none of that. But the difference between Theo and the Andrew Schultz and the Rogans or whatever is Theo never once tries to come across as if he knows what the fuck he's talking about, like at all. Like he is clearly there just for the jokes. Now, I don't know what he's saying when the cameras aren't rolling, but
has that not been outside of addiction, Jellyroll's whole fucking persona?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, and also, but again, though, like, when's the last time you actually? Because we all know that Joe Rogan used to be a good comedian, and I've laughed at his stuff. I've defended his stuff.
I cannot think of a single Joe Rogan stand-up joke. I think Joe Rogan is an excellent actor.
Whatever. Regardless. But Joe Rogan. When's the last time you heard a podcast clip and Joe Rogan made you fucking laugh? Hardly, not never. You could, if you sent me right now the ranked 200th funniest thing Theo has ever said on his podcast, I bet it would still be one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my goddamn life. Like he at least puts comedy forward with everything.
But what is your point in comparing that to Jellyroll? I mean, are you kind of saying Jellyroll's not as good of a singer as Theo is being funny?
No. I'm saying the reason I think that your friends don't mind sending you Theo stuff, whereas they wouldn't send you others, that Theo never, all of those dudes have these guests on and immediately start acting like they know what's right and they have this opinion, and Theo doesn't. He just lets them talk and makes the jokes. Like Theo's he is changing the climate, and I think people like Theo making JD Vance look human helped get those people elected. But like, he's not on there just kissing their asses. He's just trying to be funny, and therefore his clips are funny, and he's more easily digestible
But
than.
two things. Being funny around someone is kissing their ass, unless you're making fun of them. But two,
I mean,
I'm not super sure what your point is in terms of Jellyroll. Like everything you just said about Theo is true.
I wasn't.
can we keep this focused on
but I wasn't.
No, not at all. I'm not
It wasn't-
saying focus on
I had-
Jellyroll.
it had
My
nothing to
whole
do.
argument is he's trying to be Theo in that space.
No, I
and
hear you,
everything
but-
you just said, I'm like, yeah, I think that's what he's going to go for.
I was only responding to the fact that your leftist friends send you Theo clips, and I was suggesting why that was. That's all I was saying.
Look,
But I feel like I know why that is, and I'm trying to say I think that that's what this guy's trying to do. And if it's sincere and he pulls it off,
well, if
more
he
power to him.
look, if he, I'm just telling you right now, if he keeps up all the Jesus stuff, your leftist friends ain't gonna be sending you fucking Jellyroll.
Theo talks about the Lord every podcast. He's just funny.
Well, dude, John Fugelsang just wrote
It's
a
not
book
the same.
about John Fugelsang just wrote a book about the Lord, and obviously we know that
But you guys are saying it's not the same. Your
I'm not-
argument there is that he can't pull it off. I actually agree with you. I'm
John-
talking about what the goal is here. And you guys are like, he won't be able to do that. I fucking
said
know
that.
that.
John
I didn't say that.
Fugelsang's whole thing with the Lord is like highlighting how wrong American Christians have it when
Yes,
they talk
yes.
about the Lord or whatever. That's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same. but-
Jellyroll does the same shit that my new favorite person, Fernando Mendoza, does, which is just fucking, all glory to God. It's just Godhead. I love God. So I'm going to cry. I fucking love God so much. And like, dude, that sucks.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Like when
we were-
Theo talks about the Lord and church, like Steve Harvey hits talking about, he cracks me the fuck up when he ain't put a dough-knob on that. Like that shit's funny, but just praising all the goddamn time.
what I'm saying is somebody mentioned earlier about the considering Jesus himself was a complete leftist, it would behoove the Democrats to like lean into that and shit, whereas they don't or whatever. But like, if more people like Fugelsang, more comics would, even if you're lying, talk about living your life for the Lord and sharing Jesus quotes or whatever, and admitting that like, oh, actually we do that. Like, I don't like when people use the Lord and then do some non-Lord shit, but it would be nice if we tried to take back Jesus, considering Jesus would be more inclined to hang out with Bernie Sanders than he would fucking Trump, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, yeah, I agree with all that. But Drew, earlier you said when you're talking about Jellyroll, you're like, I mean, we've already got Post Malone. So Post Malone,
He did some Ozzy Osbourne pretty good the other night. I don't know if you heard it.
What's up with him now? Because I don't keep up with music and shit like that. But over the years, at first when Post Malone first came out, I was like, well, I don't care for this. But then over the years, I saw all these, like when he bought that Magic the Gathering card off that nerd kid, and all these all these moments, interviews and stuff, and he seemed like in a Jellyroll kind of way, he seemed like a good dude, like a nice guy who's not a narcissistic egomaniac or whatever. And then I even started kind of fucking with some of his music a little bit.
Me too.
For a little bit. But
Sunflower's my jam.
yeah, that sounds great. But he also is like pivoting lately, isn't he? That's why him and Jellyroll
Pivoted like 2 years ago, maybe 3.
right. Just
Which
'cause he
unfortunately
loves
just means
country. Now,
going
the
to
thing about
country.
that is, I know that he's from Texas and he tried to do country first and it didn't
Right.
work. So I feel like you can make a case that he
It's
always
different.
wanted to be a country
Yeah.
person from the very beginning. But like, and he thought he couldn't, so he tried something else, and then that hit, and then he went back to his first love or whatever.
Like
But,
John
like,
Mayer with blues.
is any of the politics shit? Is any of that? Is he doing any of that, or is it literally?
I haven't seen any. I mean, I don't like. Again, this started because I called it with Jellyroll. I do not keep up with this shit.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm like, unfortunately, I'm fucking eyeball deep in the Epstein files, and even that, I'm not wanting to be. I just almost feel like I have to. Weirdly, you know what I mean? But like, I don't think Post Malone's made. I think he's tried to remain as apolitical as possible. But again, when you're in rap, you kind of have to be a certain way, And when you're in country, you almost have to be.
Right.
There are exceptions, but it's like, unless you're going to climb a fence to fist fight whoever, I don't even remember who Zach Bryan tried to fist fight. Like, you're just going to be on the bill. Post Malone's doing a show with Kid Rock. Of course he is. You think Beyonce's going to do a show with him?
Everybody always harkens back to when they talk about things like this. They're like, oh, well, the reason Johnny Carson was great was because you never knew his politics. And, Elvis, you never knew his politics. And all these people, and you never knew their politics or whatever. And it's like, well, if you look back at some of their personal lives through tabloids and stuff, I think I could probably gather what they were, But I don't think that people can just fully understand that, like, look, man, with social media and especially with all the stuff going on, we don't really live in that world right now where you get to be apolitical and have everyone respect you. Because honestly, nothing pisses me off more than someone who can look at every single thing going on right now and remain a centrist. Like, it's almost more of a crime to me than when you stand up even for something I don't believe in. It's like, this all warrants giving your opinion about it. And I know that maybe you didn't sign up to give your opinions about things, and maybe you don't write it in your art, but like, you just come off as an aloof asshole when you go, well, both sides this, both sides that. And we don't live in the Johnny Carson world anymore.
Yeah. I do think that, I mean, I know this is not what you're saying at all, but I've seen some clips of like athletes, like Wimbledon or something happened. Everybody's getting asked about it right now, pretty much.
Of course they are.
No matter what you do. And I saw there's this like, I think he's Filipino, maybe. I don't know. Sorry. Some kind of Asian child of immigrants who's a tennis player got asked about it and wouldn't say anything. And there were some people being like, what is this about? And other people being like, well, dude, fucking, you might not want to put a target on his fucking, Tita's back or whatever. And all you hear about people like black, people of color in Minneapolis, like, won't leave their house and shit like that. So like, I think that it, very much depends. Like, there's, some people might stay out of it because they, they're
safety
afraid. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But if you're white, though,
yes,
white, then and white people be stepping up right now, in my opinion.
They do. And
but I don't think white people. Yeah,
I think what Corey just said is true for you. I don't think the world, like, you don't respect those people, right? But I'm about to give you an example of someone who has remained completely neutral, who I think it's because their views probably align very right. And that doesn't mean they support ICE. It's just like, they know that that's their fans, and he hasn't. Not only has he not lost a goddamn fan by remaining neutral, he is the biggest stand-up in the world right now. That is Nate Bargatze. Nate Bargatze, we know, is pretty right-wing leaning compared to like us.
Yeah,
but he's not talking like he is. So my point being, like, I do think there's an argument to be made against what you just said in terms of like, you might not respect people who are remaining neutral right now, but I think America still,
they do, for sure.
I think centrism, and I think centrism right now is almost to a man or a right winger in this moment.
Sure.
Well, there's a ton of people, as we know, people that even with shit is insane. Apparently it doesn't matter how insane shit gets. There's always going to be a ton of people who just will not engage with it, right? No matter what. They don't want no part, they don't vote, they don't know shit, they like proudly don't know shit, they want it kept away from them. There's a shitload of those people, and all of those people, any kind of entertainer, anything that they consume or whatnot, they're very much the like, I like this until politics got brought into it. Like, the last thing they want is for a comedian that they like to even mention politics, and I bet a ton of those people probably fucking love Nate and,
right.
Guys like that. So they're probably the biggest cohort of Americans, really. Those people.
It's just at a certain point, it does feel like, being a centrist and, I don't talk about that stuff or whatever.
I think it's two different things. To me personally, I think there's people. I don't think that everybody in the group that I just named is a centrist. I think a lot of them are just apathetic or almost afraid to even. And so they're not like a centrist is like, to me, someone who is at least somewhat engaged with it and makes the decision to play the middle, as opposed to like, I don't know, I don't do politics, I don't do politics.
That's fair. But if you there's people that I know who won't say anything about publicly, and it's like, I know in real life they're against ICE and they're against all this stuff, but they wouldn't say anything publicly. And to me, silence is saying, I mean, I'm at least fine with it. Like, I don't have a strong enough opinion on it. Like, being silent is silence is sort of siding for the oppressors, in my opinion. Like, if you don't say anything, it means I'm apathetic to it. It doesn't matter. And therefore I'm just not going to say anything, which to me means you're siding with the bad guys. That's how I feel. I know I might not be right.
No, you think either me or Drew is going to fucking argue with that? Of course.
Who the fuck would argue?
Of course we agree with you.
Well, I'm not. This podcast
you feel like you just got a little sanctimonious towards me and him about that.
I didn't think that at all. Honestly, I felt like it was like almost like it was a little shuck. I think it's because he's trying to be the Jellyroll of the left, dude. He's been saying he's going to be the Jellyroll of the left. You got a little shucksy at the end. Fucking, of course that's cowardice. My only point was I don't think people agree with that last part. I don't think people would call them cowards. I think a lot of people agree with you, but they're like, but I get like Brian Regan don't do that.
Yeah, this goes back to the very beginning of this podcast, but when we brought up Jellyroll and me saying like that's the conventional wisdom and has been for years, is that if you want to be at that level, at that mainstream, let Nate Bargatze hosting fucking network CBS Christmas specials and shit every year.
Right.
You just don't do it.
It used to not be like that though. Like used to, it was like, no, I'm saying
you started this by saying it used to be like Johnny Carson and everybody.
I know that. Like, no, back then, but I'm saying there was a while in the 2000s, like the Obama times is what I'm talking about. Really. There was a time when it was like, and hell, people said it all the time. It's like, unless you were sidling up to Democrats, you couldn't get any work or whatever. And like being openly Democrat didn't hurt your career at all. A lot of people would go, yeah, I don't agree with their politics, but their movie was good. Like it has shifted. Like during the Obama years, you would never worry about that. And you still would get to host the Emmys. You still would, but now it's different.
Yeah. Do you know why? Who you telling? Fucking, do you know why? I mean, I showed up out here thinking like, oh, I got it.
I know.
Do you know who did that? We're finding out.
Ricky Gervais,
Epstein,
yeah.
Epstein, and a lot of those emails. They're literally like he had a meeting with the founder of 4chan the day politics started. Like he literally was like, we've got to get American politics and culture back to tribalism. Is the only way we can take advantage of these people the way that we want to. And so, speaking of not wanting to be silent and being silent as a coward, it is very clear to me at this point that our entire system is rotten. Anyone who enters it with like a good heart will have no power and can't get it. And it's I'm over that. I mean, that's why I don't know if Jellyroll's a sincere guy or not. I mean, I haven't met him, but if he is, and he is trying to just fucking let him. But if he's working with those ghouls at the Daily Wire, that's what they are. And not just because I disagree with what their politics are, because they don't even have any. They're just trying to make money.
It's a grift.
Did you see that clip of John Crist talking about going to Tucker Carlson's Christmas party?
No.
I almost felt sorry for him. It went super viral. And he was talking about how like
what did he say?
He's talking to his producer and he's like, I'll tell you this. They're all friends. You know, you think this was in the height of the split inside that alt-right world over Charlie's death. Where Candace and her camp were like, someone murdered him. This is bullshit. And at the very least, they're making money off his name. And the other camp was like, this is an opportunity to get TPS USA behind JD Vance and all that. And then she was like, that's fucking gross. And also, y'all killed him. And then he was like, yeah, they're not mad at each other. None of them. I'm at the party.
Professional wrestling.
And Tucker is yelling about how some people in the GOP are letting Israel destroy the party. And then the same people he's yelling about are at his party and he's hugging them and they're laughing and they're just doing it to make money. This is their new conflict where it's wrestling beef.
It's quite literally professional wrestling. And the heels and the baby faces, yeah, they can't be seen riding around in the same car together.
Like that guy, it's still real to me. He was like, he looked sad.
That guy hates me, boy. He fucking hates me.
The real to me guy or Chris?
The real to me guy. The real to me guy.
You didn't say that? I think you were maybe dealing with getting your car out of it.
Oh,
I didn't know
my
that's
God.
what it was. I remember reading that. I was dealing with my car.
I was
being
at-
like, Corey about guy.
Corey fucking got into a fight
Very-
with it's still
yeah.
real
That
to me,
guy?
damn it.
With that guy, like 2 days ago. This is
This
is
is
very
my Epstein files. Go on.
This is a very quick story, but like I was working on my wrestling show that I'm helping write and produce or whatever, and we were at a fan cast, and that guy was there, and they were like, Corey, you need to do some man on the street stuff with him. And I've been up front with the entire production team. I was like, that's not a skill of mine. I have to do man on the street stuff. I don't really like it. I said, but if you need this from me, I will. But my whole thing is like, I'm the comedian, and that guy's otherwise boring. He's known for that thing. And I mean, he was a nice enough guy. But anyways, we're sitting there talking. I interview him. How much does it mean to you to be here? Blah, 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 blah. And then he brings up Abdullah the Butcher for some reason. And he goes, so I was hanging out with Abdullah the Butcher not long ago. And to which I just quipped real quick. I said, did he stab you in the head with a fork and give you hepatitis C?
Right.
And then because
that's the thing Abdullah the Butcher did.
That's the thing Abdullah the Butcher did. Well, the guy immediately goes,
Literally?
Literally, yeah. He like
he knew he had Hep C and did a bunch of blood shit.
Did a bunch of blood stuff on the mat or whatever,
Yeah.
and the guy fucking immediately he takes the microphone off and goes, "Fuck you, this interview's over." And I'm like, I'll show you the footage immediately. And I go, whoa, I was just, and everyone around is going like, dude, he's a comedian. He's just saying, he goes, you will not disrespect Abdullah the Butcher. He is a good friend of mine. He is and I'm sitting there, I can't quit. I don't even know what I'm saying, but I can't quit hitting. I'm just making fun of him. So I'm like, are you fucking serious with me right now? And he's like, I don't want to fucking talk to you. And so anyways, JBL has to come over there and break it up and be like, guys, we're just shooting a segment here. Like everything's okay. And anyways, I took the mic off and then went to that guy and I said, hey, I am very sorry I offended you. I didn't know it was going to go like that. And please understand that I didn't say that to get a rise out of you for TV. Like I was like, we're not going to show this and we're not going to. I was like, we're not going to show this. I said, I can't stop you from being mad at me, but just so you know, that wasn't what I was trying to do. And anyways, it ended or whatever. And you just happened to bring up that guy and we really, at one point it kind of looked like he was starting to bow up a little bit. And I was like, this seems like it would be like hitting a kid. Like
it's real to him, dude.
And
That's what I'm saying.
It's funny to cry
real to him.
about the moves being fake and then get mad about the disease being real.
Right. I know. It was weird. And I thought he'd have it's not even that I thought he'd have a better sense of humor. It took 0.2 seconds for that to come into my brain and out of my mouth. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't thinking. I just he said Abdullah the Butcher. I thought of a rib and I said it. And that's all there is to it. And I was like, guy, that wasn't planned. I didn't come here to piss you off.
It's just very funny to me because of how Raven that guy like takes it all real seriously, which is real on brand for him. He has one thing,
but he was a sweetheart, and he
lives by it.
And we made up. I don't think that we'll ever share a drink together or anything, but like he apologized for going. He's like, I'm sorry, I should have, but I apologized to him. But like they're really good friends, and whatever.
That's proof to me that Abdullah the Butcher deserves all the flack he's getting. Is that one of his greatest friends in the world is the guy who's got famous for crying as a 40-year-old about
that
wrestling.
Ain't true. I bet that guy just said. But the dude,
that's
yelling,
even funnier.
You will not disparage. Well, dude, him yelling. You will not disparage Abdullah the Butcher. Reminded me immediately of that line from that old sketch we did in that group of awful sketches where me as that like British professor got very upset and yelled, I will not stand idly by while some daft pillock sullies the good name of Chingy.
Chingy, yeah. God, that sketch was so good. We got to redo it.
Chingy is the Abdullah the Butcher.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what immediately made me think of when you said that guy actually said that unironically.
Hey, speaking of rappers and MAGA, finally got to see exactly what the Nicki Minaj stuff was all about. Because, usually when somebody just all of a sudden flips Republican in this day and age, we know it's like, oh, they're going to come out as a sex pest or yada, yada, something, yada, yada. Well, Nicki Minaj just recently was given her gold card from Trump, granting her citizenship, by the way. And I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people in Nicki Minaj's family are registered pedophiles. So Nicki Minaj got her gold card. She is now a citizen, so everyone can put to rest why exactly it was that she all of a sudden started sidling up to Trump. Am I saying sidling correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, right on.
Sidling up to, yeah. Yeah, it had been known.
They're fucking kids, dude. I don't know what to say.
Right. Well, I was going to ask this. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but the QAnon part of all this is like,
brother,
wild to me, because on the one hand, I feel like when I first found out about QAnon and everything, I made on so many podcasts, and I made videos and stuff talking about how insane and stupid it all is. And so much of it, I mean, still is and was. Part of it was that fucking Donald Trump was the Captain America of the whole situation. Part of it was that JFK Jr. was coming back from the fucking dead. And so like a lot of it was still very stupid. But like the underlying foundational thing of this like shadowy global cabal of fucking billionaire pedophiles or whatever, that ending up being true, right? And them not dunking on people like me because their main guy is like part of it is just such a and then people being like, and I wonder this too. Things are so crazy, it's making me feel like a conspiracy theorist. I start wondering, like, was fucking QAnon like a psyop to make it?
It's in the files. It is
the whole thing. For the
Go on, Drew.
You know,
it's in the files. It's literally in the files.
I mean, you said that Epstein met with the 4chan people, and that's where this came from.
He also met with that dude that everyone thinks is Q, who was already, we knew he was, I can't remember his name, him and his son. It's in the files. It was literally, there's a term for it in the CIA world. Epstein's probably pretty clearly a Mossad, if not agent, asset. There's even a term for it in that world where you show people a version of what you're doing, but it's murky and insane, so that when people see what you're doing, they're like, yeah, we already wrote this off, dude.
We already wrote this off. Well, especially if it comes from that particular type of people. Because
Yes,
I wrote it off immediately. I was like, these fucking dipshits.
I've so much. This is what I've been wanting to get into. So 3 things. 1, Andy said a similar thing to me yesterday, and I was like, how do we know? I keep seeing online a version of this. Why are they not dunking on us?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How do we know that? Because the only reason I knew what QAnon was saying in the first place is because of people like yourself dunking on them, deservedly so, and to some extent Alex Jones. Outside of Alex Jones, I didn't know who anyone was from that world other than people talking about them, right? And then they started to make the news, et cetera, et cetera. Surely to God, some of them are doing a victory lap right now, Trey.
Sure.
I have to believe that. Number 2, these people have very, very, very weird brains. They don't actually want to be right about the thing that's old.
Right.
They're already moving on to this is a conspiracy to take down Don because he's getting like they're nuts. It's a blind squirrel situation.
Right.
And then the third point, I've already made it because I got too hype, was that, and this is to me the final biggest point though, is like QAnon itself was part of the cover up.
Right.
That's in there. And I know I sound crazy. And I'm sorry to pat myself on the back here.
No.
I put a bit out that I did at our show in Nashville. I opened with this. What's up? How's everybody doing? How's it going? Remember when those were innocuous questions? You weren't afraid of the answer? Anyone else feel fucking crazy? The most insane person in your life in the last 8 years was right.
Right.
And I don't want to look them in the goddamn eye right now. Your friend from community college was like, yo, there's a global pedophile cabal around the world. And you're like, please get away from my children and stop talking to me. But it turns out they were right.
Right. But it's their guys.
There's this, I feel
it's
like
our guys too.
Or at least I know. But for at least a lot of them, I think that it was like, they were right, except they kind of weren't. Because I think for a lot of them, the most important part of it was that it was specifically and exclusively and only a left-wing pedophile ring that heroes like Donald Trump were trying to combat.
Right.
And when it comes out, though there is a pedophile ring, they don't really care about that much or that part as much as the other. But they didn't really care about kids being diddled. They cared that a fucking rich, powerful leftists were diddling them. And I know that some of them are.
For sure.
But I feel
I
like
just
for a
can't
lot of
believe
them-
that's completely true.
I don't think it's true for all of them. I think it's definitely true for plenty of them, though.
Okay, but the top people in QAnon were in on it, is what I'm telling you.
It's like a reverse.
Like that was part of it. But
They
let me finish this point. The top people in QAnon were in on it. The cover up, they were part of this. So I'm saying the people right below that, how do I know they're not doing a victory lap? On what universe would I follow them? I just can't believe that. And I know you're like, yeah, sure, some of them. I think it's a lot of them, but it's not getting algorithm traction.
It also, QAnon got more and more kind of mainstream, right, on the right wing. So there's been a lot of like right wing people who maybe were not like full blown, or their main thing wasn't QAnon, but were still like Epstein files, liberal pedophiles, whatever. They're still about that, who have like publicly tried to backpedal and downplay it and fucking how old is 15 really and all that type of shit. Is like, there's been plenty of that. Like, because for those people, it was just the pro wrestling, my team, your team part of it. It was never about the actual kids. But for the hardcore true believer nutbag QAnon people are right. I mean, you're probably right. I'm sure there's
okay. Two things. I want to give Robbie Slowett credit for the coolest, funniest point, which was like,
who's Robbie Slowett?
He writes for the Daily Show. He's my buddy. He used to write for the Daily Show. I don't know if he still does. He's my buddy who's a comedian in New York. He also, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to butcher it. I tried to find it. It was basically like, hey, QAnon, you remember how you're like, there's a whole pedophile cabal running the world and Donald Trump's going to be the one to take it down? You have no idea how right you were.
Right.
Or no, Donald Trump's at the center of it, of taking it down. That sort of monkey's paw, you know, this is probably offensive to say this, but that like gypsy curse of like, Donald Trump is responsible. I thought that's
the monkey's paw. Good. For Alex Jones, it's very much been a monkey's paw curling situation.
So I looked it up. I wanted to know what he was going to do with it. He's literally saying, told you so, but they're lying about Trump.
Right. It's all true, except for this part.
Mind-blowing to me. I don't like, as a business decision or on a human level, I can't wrap my head around that. The second thing I wanted to say, well, how funny would it be if in a week Jellyroll comes out and says loudly, proudly, and clearly 14 should be the age of consent, and that's the only politics he wants to get involved in.
Finally, somebody says it. Yeah, that would be wild. Okay, well, fucking existence is a nightmare. That's it, I guess, for this week's episode of WellRED. So plugs, come see me on the road, Birmingham and Atlanta this month, February, and then Denver and a bunch of other. Drew, when are you in Denver in March? Do you know?
I am in Denver in March. That would be the last weekend. I want to say.
I'm there the Ides of March. I'll be in. I've been whatever. I'm in Colorado in the middle of the month.
Wait.
TraeCrowder.com. TraeCrowder.com for all the tickets. Comedy Works on the 13th and 14th, and then Steamboat Springs on the 15th. So that'll be fun.
I'll be in Denver 2 weeks after Trae.
Yeah. Well, keep going. I'm done. TraeCrowder.com.
Corey and I have a show in Athens, Georgia on February 15th. There are only like 20 tickets left last I checked, which was 2 days ago. So if you're interested in seeing us, Mike Cooley, co-frontman of the Drive-By Truckers, is going to host. I told him to tell some stories if he wanted. I hope he does. If you're interested in that, come through. If you're not, I really don't know why you'd even listen to this podcast. I mean, that's unbelievable. I'm mad I can't go to the show.
Me too.
That's February 15th. Let's see, March 27th, I got Denver. The weekend after that, first week in April, I'm in Bristol, Tennessee. That's about all I got right now.
Yeah, sorry to everybody. The show I was supposed to do in Asheville this weekend was postponed due to the weather, so I hope everybody is safe.
Postpone Malone over here.
Postpone Malone. I hope everybody is safe, and obviously those tickets will go towards when we announce the new date. I've also been saying something wrong for a while, and it's been brought to my attention. I will be in Atlanta at the Punchline March 29th. I was saying the 19th, but it's the 29th. I'm an idiot. So March 29th, I'll be at the Punchline in Atlanta. Come see me and Drew February 15th at Hendershots. It's going to be a blast. And as always, CoreyWritesForYou.com. That is my Substack. Thank you all for this week. You got me up to number 15. in the bestsellers, only 7 away from Dave Barry. I'm coming for you, Dave Barry. We have a feud that only I know exists. CoreyWritesForYou.com. Daily diaries, daily essays, audio stuff. It's a lot of fun, and you can read it for free, all of it, or you can give me $5 a month. Your choice. Thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got anything to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew. Fart.
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 We're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. We collected from our love of Downton Abbey. We collected, we found out we're both so fancy. Hey, what's the difference between rednecks and royal families? Only money, cause they both have sex with family. Ew. Putting on airs. What other rednecks to talk about foreign affairs? Laughing so hard that we end up falling out our chairs. Sir Trae, Sir Corey, oh what a pair. High class topics with a redneck flair. Oh yeah. 2 rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. 2 rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. Okay, it's Team Squirrel or Team Trae. Oh yeah, we keeping it basic. He thinks that the squirrels at Corey's mom's house are racist. And you know squirrels live in the same place for generations. So Trae, you better count your days and you better count your blessings. Cause all the squirrels that you ran over, that you think are nameless, faceless, their families are getting together and plotting on you from the attic and basement. So even though Corey is dumb, fat, and bald, he knows how to avoid drama, don't get squirrels involved. 2 rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs. 2 rednecks but we're still fancy, putting on airs. We might not know much about history, we don't care. We gon' get drunk and we talk about yachts. We gon' get drunk and we gon' talk a lot. Dress real fancy, sit in our chairs, sip on our tea, putting on airs.